Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining us for another Friday with Virtual Carthage. Today, my good friend Koral Martin is joining us. I'm really excited to have her here. I feel like I've seen a ton from you on Facebook and social media, especially Instagram. Your Instagram is gorgeous,
Oh, thank you.
about all of your journeys. But I really haven't, I think I've very rarely gotten a chance to talk to you over the last year.
Yeah, visitation's been a little different.
Yes, definitely. So I'm really excited to see you in person or see you virtually and talk about your journeys. I know that getting around during COVID, or even you traveled so much before
Mhm.
in Colorado and different places like that. So you really have a great photography studio that I like to spend time in. And you've been journeying for a long time. I think the last time I stayed at the gallery for a little bit, were you in Utah or?
The longest trip the last trip would have been West Virginia. I did
Okay.
last fall.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
Utah's was before COVID. That fall before COVID.
Oh, okay. Right.
Last fall we went to West Virginia.
Yeah. So, anyway, and you're getting ready for a trip to Alaska.
I
Which is
am. I'm pretty
wow.
excited. This is. I always said on my bucket list, but my uncle corrected me. He said it should be my living list, things that I want to do while I'm still living. So
Right.
it's been on my list for a long time.
hmm So tell us a little bit about journeys and especially like usually you go on a few days, but you're a very naturalist. So you do a lot of hiking
I
and
do.
mhm,
Yeah, I don't think journeys have to be long distances off and have to be the several week long trips, even though I enjoy those type of journeys. I think you can just take a journey somewhere nearby, go spend an hour or two out in nature, sometimes involving hiking, because those are, to me, special journeys. But I even just like going over to Kellogg Lake, as you mentioned, uh, back when we had the winter. Every day we had the 2 weeks of nasty weather. Every single day I would get out with my camera and go over to like Spring River or Kellogg Lake and local. To me, that was a journey. It was seeing those areas in a way that I'd never seen them before, with ice and snow, lots of snow, and 16 below. I like doing just journeys to hiking trails like Wildcat Glades, take off for a few hours. Those are nice close by journeys. Or I'll go down to Arkansas if I want something a little bit longer of a day.
and
So
I've seen some of your work from Minahama too.
yeah,
From the old
they
Girl
were
Scout
doing. They
camp.
do fundraisers in Camp
Mhm.
Minahama. This is the second time they've done a clicks for Minahama. So I spent about 2 hours over there on Tuesday taking pictures and tons of dogwood, which was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
But all of those
And
are journeys.
looks like my husband is a big fan too.
Hey, thanks, Brad.
So looking at some of your work, the first couple of pieces I have, this one's from West Virginia from last year.
Yeah, this was a mill that's there. I'd seen pictures of it for years and years, so it was pretty exciting to get to see this old grist mill and get pictures of it
hmm
and everything. That was a must go see when I was on my trip.
Right. And just the photography elements of that. For me, I mean, I work mostly with my phone, but the professional quality that you have where you're able to actually focus on the barn and the water, because
Yeah.
that's the part that I glitch up every time. And that
Yeah.
to me, that's the mark of of a true photographer. I can see all of the beams of wood and the leaves on the trees.
Yeah.
And
Depending what you're shooting as to what you want the depth of field to be. And obviously, I wanted the leaves right up front and the leaves in the back
mhm,
to be in focus. So
right.
that's a way of learning around your camera.
And I'll tell you, the iPhone cannot do that yet.
No, no, they're coming a long way, but no.
Yeah, yeah. And then here's a photo from Colorado, and
Yeah,
I
this
just
is one of my favorite pictures of Colorado. It had it all.
mhm,
Had the fall color with the aspen. It had the snow on the mountaintops, which I absolutely love. It had old historical buildings and a cool sky. It was just
mhm.
one of those things you can get yourself lost in. And the picture in itself
Yes.
is a journey.
Because I mean, that looks like a little bit of livestock on a hill too, or it might be a
There could
tree.
have there could have
Mhm,
been. It was just beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful view, and I almost missed it. We were driving away from it, and I happened to turn around and see it, and I yelled at my husband, "Stop!"
This
We were
is
driving
it.
that day because storms were moving in. We weren't able to hike. So,
Oh yeah, because you can kind of see those storm
yeah,
clouds. To
and
me,
within an hour, it had let loose.
yeah, because I love the depth of the sky there, like you said, with the mountains and the snow in the background, and then the
Yeah.
fall color, and those barns are gorgeous
Yeah, and
too.
actually one of them's an old schoolhouse. So it's,
Oh,
yeah. So I call it Golden Rules. So in
oh right.
full meanings.
Mhm. So, let's see. Well, Brad had a question for you, I guess, because he's looking to improve his photography as well. What programs do you use to make the pictures pop? Adobe Lightroom
Well,
or
if
Photoshop?
you're taking the picture correctly, you don't need to do much editing, and I like to keep
Mhm,
it natural, but I do use Adobe Photoshop. I know a lot of people use Lightroom, but I feel like I have more options within Photoshop.
mhm.
That's my program of choice.
Yeah, I was at Photo Spiva exhibit yesterday with the florals exhibit they have in conjunction with the photos, and there was a lot of Photoshop that you could see. There's just a lot of digital art coming. That's kind
Mhm.
of a bit of the digital coloring mixed with photography. That was really interesting. But
Yeah, and I
um,
have fun playing with that, and
mhm,
and I've been doing some high key photography, which I should have sent you a picture of. That requires a little bit more manipulation afterwards. Take pictures
mhm,
blown out a little bit in the background. But and I like playing with those things. But when I'm doing my landscape and such, I really want it to look like what it did when I took the.
mhm,
And our camera can't quite capture that, so I shoot in RAW. If anybody's familiar with photography, and then I take it into a RAW editor, and I'll do things like adjust the highlights and the shadows and things like that. Take out some of the haze, and I try to bring it back to what my eyes were actually seeing.
mhm.
And obviously, that's what helps make things pop.
Yeah.
Right out of the camera, you're not going to get that.
Some of my favorites are the metals that you print on, like
Mhm.
are behind you, where you can see the
Yeah,
slot
there's a few of the
caverns and
medals.
the
Yeah,
just to me, when I spend time in your gallery, every angle is a different view. Just when the metals catch the light
yeah,
differently from your front window,
yeah.
or um, when it's a cloudy day, all of a sudden the gallery looks entirely different on that wall.
It really does. The metal is very 3D, and it does, depending on the light and the angle, can look totally different. It's pretty amazing.
hmm I also like to play with your website because you do have that AI imaging where I can see what
Yeah.
things look like on my wall.
Yeah, you can see it on just a generic wall with different wall colors, or you can actually open it up on your cell phone and see what that picture would look like in your actual space, which is really, really cool.
Yeah. Well, so getting ready for the journey that you have coming up, you're going to Alaska on your
I
photo
am.
tour.
I am going to be going this summer in June
Mhm.
and spending a little over 2 weeks there. I About a year ago, my husband said, "I know you've been wanting to go to Alaska. Why don't you let me give you a gift, and it can be your birthday and Christmas and Valentine's, and you can go to Alaska." So I was pretty excited, and I immediately signed up for this photo tour. It's 8 days. It'll be 5 days in the Kenai Peninsula, where we'll be out on boats taking pictures of birds and whales and everything. And then we're going to be doing 3 days at Lake Clark, shooting bears or photographing bears.
It
And
is
then, but
different, subtly different.
yeah, and shooting is what you call photography, but most people
Right.
might not register that way. But photographing bears. But I'm going to spend 2 days before the trip, and I'm going to be going down to Seward on my own, so I can spend
Mhm.
more time and get more in-depth photos. And we'll also be going down there and going out on a boat as part of the photo tour. And then,
Right.
yeah, at the tail end, I'm going to be staying in Palmer with a friend's daughter. She's
Mhm.
her home to me, and I'm going to go to Eklutna Lake on the way, and then a Manitousca Glacier, and of course I've got to go to Denali. I'll spend a couple of days exploring Denali, so I'm going to get hopefully a little bit of everything, the whole not
Mhm.
experience, because I hear once you go, you've got to go back.
Yeah.
Trying
Yeah.
to get a little bit of everything from the wildlife to the mountains to the water to the glaciers. Uh, it's
Mhm.
pretty exciting, sort of one of those trips of a lifetime. And I've said that about a few things, but this really is going to be phenomenal. something I've been actually planning and hoping for a year, not knowing for sure if it was going to happen with all the craziness of the world.
Hmm.
One until about a month ago that I let myself get excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I didn't realize, I mean, of course, whales, but I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
because that's why
yeah,
people go to Alaska.
yeah,
Um,
and eagles and yeah,
yes,
all sorts
yes.
of things.
And then in a boat, I know you do a lot of kayaking. Would you
Mhm.
kayak in Alaska?
I'm hoping the Eglantine Lake allows kayaking, and they have a thing called paddle and pedal,
Hmm.
where I could paddle across the lake and then bike back.
Okay.
Let you do it by yourself. So unless I can hook up with somebody who else is single or another group, I won't be able to do that. But
Hmm.
I'd love to do the lake. I don't think I'm adventuresome enough to get out on the ocean.
Yeah, yeah, because
uh,
that's my biggest. Well, I've seen some on videos on maybe Facebook or YouTube, just where someone's in a small kayak and there's a big whale.
yeah, or shark or whatever.
Yes.
Plus,
Oh
I
my
want
God.
to take my camera equipment, and the waves are more my worry.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd hate to dump my camera equipment. So,
Oh, right. Yeah.
yeah, so I probably will stick to the lake, but this lake is supposed to be really nice to kayak on, but you can actually rent a boat and a bike and bike all around. So that's might be what I'm
Mhm.
doing, and that'll still be a blast.
And we also have a Christy. Do you know Christy? She's
Oh,
pretty funny
uh,
to hear you
yeah,
pronounce
I
the
sort
Alaskan
of
words.
uh, killed the Alaskan words. I'm hoping that once I visit Alaska,
Uh-huh.
I'll to correctly pronounce Kenai and or however they're supposed to be said, because I don't know.
I'm the
I
same
am sure
way.
I'm butchering them.
Yeah. I always joke that I'm from Oklahoma and I have no business using other languages or other locations.
Yeah,
It's
well,
always going to be Miami.
I have the definitely Kentucky twang, so I'm sure that doesn't help it either.
Yeah. So, looking at your schedule, I know that you are really dedicated. What I like about your journeys is that you do so much of videography too, so that you'll kind of
Mhm.
video blog your journey along the way. And
Yeah.
I was looking at kind of this GPS. Tell us what
Well,
how this works.
okay. What I decided is, since I'm going to be spending about 6 days on my own, that I really needed to have some type of good GPS.
Hmm.
Well, I won't have cell service most of the time that I'm up in Alaska. AT&T is predominant out there. Verizon's up there, but it's pretty sketchy, and I've been told not to count on that. So this GPS will not only let me know where I'm going, but a really neat feature is I can text my husband using satellite saying, "Hey, I'm okay," or I'm here today. This is where I'm stopping. And it even has a good little SOS button.
Oh, good.
Fall into a crevice at the glacier. Down at the bottom, if I can get my finger on that button, I can hit SOS and be
Yeah.
rescued. And that's one of the things we haven't talked about doing a fundraiser, but that's one of the things that
Hmm.
Raiser is helping pay for.
And then here's a slide about your fundraiser a little bit. So, talk to us
Yeah,
a little bit more about that.
I mentioned earlier that my husband said that this would be my birthday, my Christmas, my Valentine's.
Hmm.
And so when I sat down and figured out how much the trip was going to cost, I figured I would not have a birthday or anything until I was 97 years old. So, so I thought, well, maybe if I could get some people to help support me on the trip, that I might be able to have a birthday, when I'm 92 or maybe 87. Hopefully I'll still be kicking at those ages and still out with my camera. So that was just sort of a fun way to bring people into my fundraiser. But honestly, the way the fundraiser is set up, if you donate, say $300, you're going to get a photo from my Alaska trip worth $300. Plus, you're going to
Hmm.
more videos. And we started talking about videos and got a little waylaid there. More photos. I'm doing videos before my trip. I'm going to be doing live streaming whenever I can there, which I know there's going to be limitation on that. And you're going to walk away with a photo from Alaska of your choice. So
Right.
you donate as to what size and such. So I really want people to journey with me
Hmm.
on the trip, and that's been my whole thing all along. Is about journeys. Is that I want people to get out in nature. If they can't get out and have their own journeys, or they want more, they can journey along with me. And so I'm really trying to bring people along with me, because most people won't make it to Alaska, or they might do
Hmm.
that probably is as close as they'll get. And I'm going to really immerse myself for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think the closest I would probably get is maybe an Alaskan cruise. That's on my list. I don't think I would do the hiking and things like that, but I would definitely be interested. So I'm so glad that you're taking me along with you.
Yes, I'm
And
excited about that.
and I'm going to share a link right now of your YouTube so that it shares a little bit of information about your fundraiser, but it also has some really great video and inspirational items regarding the tour.
Yeah, and I've gotten more into videos, so I'm taking 2 cameras and a drone. I bought a drone last fall specifically with the thought of taking it to Alaska. I didn't know I would fall in love with a drone, and I've started doing lots of video with the drone. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I ever dreamed I would, but that's going to be a lot of fun to have footage. Photos photos are going to be phenomenal, but the footage too will just really bring you into the journey.
What I like about some of your drone shots is not only, I mean, I think one of your first ventures with the drone was of the courthouse, and you got some really good
I did
video on the square. But what I like is that it has images of you in it too, so that you can see all of that glorious landscape, but then you can kind of see how you're a small element in that, and kind of gives us an insight on how you angled for that picture that we see.
Yeah, I try to bring the story into it.
The story behind the photo.
I'm not a selfie person, but I really felt like that by adding that into the videos, it really brings in a whole different feel story. So.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the drone footage or the images that I see are mostly the back of your head, which kind of gives us the impression that we're sitting alongside you.
Right. And I do that on purpose.
Yeah. Like, the back of your head is glorious. Don't get me wrong. But,
no. But no, I think the silhouette and the feel, I like that type of feel where you're following me along on the journey. So
yes. Yeah, I appreciate that as well.
Oh, so. Good. It's doing what I intended. Good.
Yes. So let's see. I would love a picture of a whale. So that's my prayer for you specifically.
Fingers crossed that it'll work out. You never know with whales, but
those orcas are my favorite, but a beluga would be amazing as well.
I really hope that will work out. I mean, you just never know when you're going there. In our boat trip, that's just a small portion of what we're going to be looking for. But I went back through the photos of Lisa Langell, and she's who's doing the photography tour I'm doing with. And she did have lots of whale pictures. So I'm hoping that'll play out because they're amazing creatures.
Yeah. And some of my other favorite photos that I've seen from your nature images are some of your just animal bloopers, for lack of a better term, like is a lizard eating a frog or something like that.
A lizard eating another lizard.
Yes. And
that was pretty amazing.
Of Annie in the water or, things like that.
I've got the one at the heron that has speared a fish and can't eat it. He's trying to get the fish beak in order to eat it.
Yes.
Those are always fun.
Yes. Those are some of my favorite.
Yeah.
Then, gosh, you do some really great florals. Just some of the spring shots that you've gotten this season.
I enjoy doing the macro flowers. They've always been a passion for me. And that's sort of what got me back into photography, was photographing flowers again.
Yeah. I think you have some really great cone flowers in the wind and, things like that. And every once in a while you get a great web or a spider or something like that as well.
Yeah. But, I find when I have a camera in my hand, I see things that I would never see otherwise. Things like the webs and the dewdrops and things like that. It makes me look so much closer and look with a different eye. And it fascinates me what is out there if you just look.
Yeah. So if you are listening, Koral does have a group. It's Koral's Amazing Journey to Alaska.
That group is only for the supporters.
Oh, okay. I was like,
because that's where I am where I'm posting all the extra video. I'm in the process. I worked on today a video about packing and what equipment I'm buying, the planning, the whole process of getting ready for the trip. And I'm in the middle of creating that video.
Oh, that makes sense on why I couldn't share it.
But it doesn't matter how much you donate.
Right, right. I was like, I
say
got
you want to
in.
be, yeah, you say, I want to be part of your journey. Here's whatever you can
Mhm.
afford. And you get to be part of that. And I am going to be posting on my regular Facebook page on both Koral Martin Fine Art Photography and my Koral Martin page. I'm not going to keep it away from other people, but everybody that is a supporter is going to get some of that extra stuff.
Yeah, I can't
What the
imagine you
group is
would.
for.
Yeah, I can't imagine you would let your first whale not go on Instagram.
No, I guarantee I'm going to be posting my whales, my eagles, my bears,
Mhm.
my glaciers, all on my Facebook page. But where I might post one or two whales on my Facebook page, I'll post everything on my,
Right.
the whole gamut. If you're one of my supporters, because I want you. That's the idea. Is I'm trying to get you to journey with me, and I'm going to tell you the story and show you the full picture of everything
Mhm.
experiencing. So
Now, so we did drop the YouTube channel in the website or in
okay,
our links. What I think is really interesting about that YouTube channel is you are a great storyteller. So it's not just the images, is you tell some really great stories about your faith and how you appreciate walking along with people. And
Mhm.
you really do bring us into that video and share. So anyone who isn't, I really liked, I got hooked on your videos during COVID because I'm in the house and I know that you're out on a hike. Um, and I'm not such a hiker. I
There's a
don't,
lot of people who aren't. That's why I do
I
videos.
could really dive into a pizza, but a hike is not not, but I love to watch your take on a hike and experience some of that joy because I mean maybe I could get into hiking, but the first 5 hikes are going to be a chore.
And that's true. It is
Mhm.
and I got away from hiking, and for a while wasn't really drawn into it, but now I'm addicted. Uh,
Yeah.
could be out. I don't think I'd want to be out every day hiking.
Hmm.
Pretty close to it. Doing a good hike every week. I take my Mondays and Tuesdays and get out with a camera. And with the weather being beautiful, all I want to do is get out there and hike. I
Yeah.
get
And I
what I call a hiker's high.
right. Well, because when you train, you actually had to do training for your trip to
Mhm.
Utah,
I
right?
did. I'm not a young person anymore, and it was going to be some rigorous 45-degree hiking on rock angled like this. And so I got out and did the toughest trails I could find
Mhm.
in about a 4-hour radius from me. I did a lot of hiking on some steep trails down in Arkansas, and I shared a lot of those hikes.
Mhm. And
YouTube.
I think what's remarkable about that is because that Utah group, you were with a group where I would definitely
Mhm.
train because I don't want any to slow anyone down, and I don't want
I felt
anyone to
that
catch
way.
me
Yep.
huffing and puffing.
Yeah, and I still did do huffing and puffing, but I was really proud that the guide at the end, he said, "Man, we got up that hill hours faster than I expected." So
Hmm.
I feel good. There was two of us that were older that we held our own and were able to get us out of the canyon before the dark hit because we were worried about that. And of
Yeah.
course, we spent as much time down at the bottom as we could, but the hike out was if I hadn't have done the hiking I had done, I'd been in trouble, and I would have been so sore after the first day I wouldn't have been able to do anything the second day because we did 4 days of hiking.
Hmm.
uh, I had gotten past all that shins and calves burning and all that with the hiking I did in Arkansas.
Wow. That is a glorious burn in your shins.
Yeah. It was called massage time.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for sharing with us.
Well,
I
thank
did drop
you.
that YouTube link in. I would
Thank
encourage
you.
anyone to look for you on Instagram as well.
Mhm.
We shared or we linked in the description of the broadcast to your fine arts page and
Good.
your gallery page. So
Yeah,
you
and
do
I've
have
got a
lots of
page, koralmartin.com/Alaska has all the information about my Alaska trip too. So
oh, okay. Yeah.
remember.
And then oh, what is your website? Off the wall.
Oh, off the wall photography, off the
Mhm.
dot photography is all my cutting boards and things like that.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
take my pictures and put them on cutting boards, mugs, things
Mhm.
that, if you don't have wall space, that gives us some options. And I'm also on Etsy with that type stuff, but koralmartin.com is
Right.
gallery. So, but yeah, I try to give options to everybody.
Well, I'll tell you, koralmartin.com is a fun Friday night trying to figure out what will best fit over your couch or on your fireplace.
Yeah. Yep.
So I haven't figured that out yet because I have such decision paralysis. But
well, just too many options. I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's incredible. So, well, thanks so much, Koral. And do you have anything
thank
else
you.
to close out?
No, I hope you will journey along with me. If Alaska and your thing, I'm continually sharing journeys, both through video and through photos. So I hope you'll follow me on Facebook and on Instagram and see some of my journeys. But I'd love for you to go along with me to Alaska. And my sort of catchphrase is find some nature in your day, because I think it can make all the difference in the sense of calm and peace, especially during the craziness. And we're not done with it yet. It's getting better, but nature's the answer to a lot of our issues.
Yeah. Well, I also encourage you to go to Koka Art Gallery on the Square, just off of Main. Just off of 4th Street on Main. And when you're gone in June, I'll be at the gallery a few days.
Yay!
But we're going to leave you with some colors of the canyon. So I saved kind of this triage picture for last.
A little bit of my journey.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and have a great weekend.
And everybody else, thank you so much.
Yeah. And we will catch you next week on Virtual Carthage, or you can catch us on our podcast with 10 Minute Tuesday. So have a great weekend.